Good morning, everyone. My name is Lorenzo Isip, and we will be tackling about the strategic human resource management. While the term human resource management or HRM is now universally used in the organizations, there has been a widespread debate into its meaning and its significance. In the 1980s, HRM began to be acknowledged as more distinct and valuable management functions, and it was frequently cited as a factor explaining that certain organizations were successful. In seeking to explore the link between HRM and the strategy of organization, author in the 1980s developed models asserting a strategic approach to HRM, resulting to the evolution of the concept of SHRM. With this in mind, Story 1995 seminal HRM model is based upon four key tenets. First is the belief and assumptions of HRM. Second, strategic qualities of HRM, then followed by the critical role of managers. And last but not the least is the key levers, which also ensures that HRM strategies can be implemented. Story in 1995 assert that if an HRM perspective is central to organizations' activities, there will be no underlying beliefs that stress the importance of staff. Based on these assumptions, the professional management of staff should enhance competitive and advantage and enhance human capability, and commitment should be distinguishing features of successful companies. In addition, there has also been academic attention given to the notion of the best practice model of HRM that emphasizes the importance of high commitment or high performance work practices in organization. In essence, HR policies and practices should encourage to induce staff to demonstrate positive discretionary behavior linking into employee commitment, motivation, and job satisfactions. Highlights 11 interrelated HRM areas of importance, which are careful, sophisticated recruitment and selection, training and learning and development, providing career opportunities, information sharing and extensive two-way communication, involved in decision making, team working, and appraising each individual's performance and development, pay satisfaction, job security, job challenge or job autonomy, and work-life balance. So in addition, they highlight the need of these policies to be mutually enforcing and concerned with creating an able to workforce, motivating valued behaviors, and providing opportunities to participate. The manner in which these policies are implemented by frontline managers, their values espoused by top-level management, and the cultivation of organizational culture are seen as important influence on employee discretionary behavior. What is evident from research work into SHRM and performance is that there is a perceived link between policies and practices, the manner in which these are implemented, and their impact on employee discretionary behavior. In addition, the key inhibitors of the barriers to involvement centering of lack of time, work priorities, capability, comfort, and trust still need to be addressed in many tourism. Organization. In order to explore the nature of HRM in the visitor attraction sector in more detail, an example of good practice is explored in the following case study. The organization and leadership of SHRM, the culture and values underpinning HRM strategy, the mutually reinforcing nature of HRM practices, and the role of line managers in implementing these are all discussed. Within this framework, the 11 interrelated HRM, which I discussed earlier, the areas of importance presented by Purcell are revisited. Hello everyone, now we will proceed to the introduction and background to case organization. So the Dynamic Earth Charitable Trust, or the DECT, was established in 1995 when the Scottish and Newcastle PLC gifted the city of Edinburgh 10 acres of land to locate a building of architectural note which could serve to educate the people of and visitors to Edinburgh. The resulting interpretation and visitor center, our Dynamic Earth, or ODE, is situated at the base of a volcano that last erupted 3 million years ago, and displays and informs the public about issues relating to geology and the natural environment. In order to collect data for this case study, the authors carried out a semi-structured interview in December 2006 with the commercial director of the attraction. The top management team consists of CEO, a commercial director, operator director, marketing director, and the science director, who are responsible for 12 managers, 8 supervisors, and 66 employees. Of this staff, the management of visitors attraction 49% work in shift patterns, with 23% of part-time contracts, only 5% of staff are employed on seasonal basis, and there is even a split between male and female employees. With over a third of staff having been employed for the less than 1 year, the diverse nature of employees was raised a number of times in the interview with the commercial director. He felt that the changes in this type of employees were applying to the organizations reflect structural changes in the leisure sector labor market, where in the early years applications from Australians, Americans, and Swedish nationals were high, but currently ODE was felt to be relying heavily on Polish employees. It was noted that there was a big diversity of staff and skills requirements, ranging from food and beverage, operations to sales and education. As alluded to above, there are 3 operational dimensions within the ODE visitor attraction: visitor service, retail and merchandising, corporate entertainment, and encompassing banquet and conferences, and education of earth sciences. The commercial director felt that the third of this is considered to be the cornerstone of the business. Education is what the organization is really about. These 3 components of the business are reflected in core teams of employees are assigned with the attraction. Firstly, there is a core team of food and beverage workers who deliver banquet and conference service. Secondly, a team of scientists and educators is responsible for delivering the educational product. And finally, ticketing, retail and attraction services, as well as maintenance worker, have a key role in ensuring the efficient and effective delivery of service and facilities of the whole attraction. This results in the need to manage potentially different perspectives within the attraction, and vitally to communicate to all staff that they are part of an organization which has to serve the needs of 3 very diverse set of customers. As a commercial director, indicated staff need to have appreciation of what is going on in the other departments, and the importance of ODE of looking outwardly was discussed by the commercial director. ODE has also been rated as a 5-star visitor attraction by the Scottish Tourist Board, now known as the Visit Scotland. Illustrating the continued commitment to excellence in customer care, the Star Award program focuses on the most important operational aspect in any tourism organization, such as the standard of the welcome, hospitality and service, and how the attraction is presented. The standard of the toilets, shop, and cafe. To further illustrate this commitment to quality in service provision, ODE also carries out its own mystery shopping exercise. The commercial director observed that such a system is particularly useful in that it provides good quality, specific feedback to employees about service levels. In seeking to understand how the HRM approach is organized at ODE, we provide an overview of its strategic approach prior to analyzing their specific practices using the 11 key components proposed by Purcell ETAL as a framework. So that would be all. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Hi, I'm Janelle, and today we'll be talking about SHRM in our dynamic Earth. Overall responsibility for HRM falls within the remit of the commercial director, who devises the HR strategy in conjunction with the other directors at board of trustee meetings. Such high-level alignment of HR to businesses' goals means that the organization constantly reviews HR implications of any proposed operational issues. For example, when the business expanded its corporate business, HR issues were considered as an integral component of that strategy. The critical role played by line managers in the implementation of HRM in the organization should also be seen as fundamental in its strategy. The fact that there is now no dedicated HR specialist employed in the organizations of the HR manager left in 2005 underlines the need for the commercial director to work in tandem with line managers to ensure that HR issues are managed effectively. Although the attractions that employ the services of an employment law specialist on certain issues. In the main, it is the line manager's job to undertake staff planning and appraisals, recruitment, learning and development needs, identification, and manage disciplinary and grievance procedures. The commercial director felt that the major reasons why this devolving of HR strategy to line managers seemed to work could be attributed to the open positive culture, which means the ODE has been described as a fantastically guild organization by HMIE.
Hi, I'm Cherry, and today we will be talking about careful, sophisticated recruitment and selection. The careful cultivation of an inclusive and stimulating organizational culture was raised as fundamental reason why ODE has been successful. Within this mind, it is not surprising that the selection of staff centers on attracting individuals who will fit into this organization culture. In the interview with the commercial director, the essential cornerstone of the ODE culture could be summed up in the phrases making science fun. Hence, a fundamental quality of staff at all levels of excellent communication and customer service skill, and a key part of the selection process is profiling individuals on the basis of how well they could work together in teams. Hence, group interview were used, as well as situational exercise to determine individuals' styles of communication. It was interesting to note that the attraction had recently changed its policy for recruiting the guiding. Tour guides and special display staff employees and get the software skills of personality, communication, and excellent customer service were felt to be much more important than technical science knowledge. Such an innovation clearly underlines the seriousness with which ODE takes the issue of employee fitting in the generally exclusive culture. It is genuine and not lip service, and we have found that people who have ownership in anything are much more likely to make it work.
Hi, I am Lourdes. Today we will be talking about Visitor Attraction Survey on training and development. Clearly, the issue of training and development is an integral aspect in Forza's model of SHRM. In ODE, there were several examples where upskilling of current employees and effective initial training and development of new employees was evident. For example, a new innovation in the attraction was the introduction of new theme characters into the exhibition in 2006. The commercial director noted that, after prior trials the previous year using existing guiding staff, ODE had given many more staff the opportunity to participate in the program. We have mascots. They wear dinosaur outfits which goes down a storm with all the families, and that gives a really warm reception. We have also explorer characters who have wonderful thoughts that gallery dressed as a traditional jungle explorer performing what we call crowd busting. If they see a big crowd in a gallery, they will go and entertain with a number of relevant props for where they are in the attractions. That is an extra member of staff, but it was worked very well. It is very good for staff and customer interaction, so we are planning to do more of that next year. And what that department manager has to look at is to how many are we going to do and what days of the week are we going to do it. Clearly, if members of staff want to take on such roles, there is a need to ensure that they have necessary skill requirements. For example, as a mascot or jungle explorer, there may be a need for more scientific skills training than for one of the other guides. These issues of further upskilling can also be linked to the role of line managers, who need to think clearly about the best to utilize staff time and consider who may be best suited for such roles, in terms of qualifications and so on, as well as when is the best time to provide relevant skills and knowledge training. The commercial director noted that such issues also provided knock-on effects for the attraction, where departmental and line managers will also need to be properly trained to ensure they can manage such situations properly. Thank you for watching Visitors Attraction Survey, and I hope this video helps.
Good morning, everyone. So we'll proceed to the providing career opportunities. So the above examples illustrate the general ethos in ODE surrounding training and development and how skills development is linked to further career development. It was noted that in certain departments, especially banqueting and catering, many employees were interested in gaining vital experience that could allow them to pursue long-term career. With this in mind, a policy for the attraction was offering key employees the opportunities to participate in job rotation so that they get varied experiences and skills. As the commercial director elaborated, I am always looking at things with an eye on HR as well when we are thinking about moving into different areas. We have to think about upskilling. Are they people who are supervisors at the moment? Could they take over in new roles, for examples, like into management role to cope with the business expansion? The attraction, so the focus was on ensuring that they do not do a good job while they are employed. With training development and facilities to encourage commitment, many examples were given illustrating the techniques that were used to instill commitment to the attraction amongst such as staff. For example, free coffee and drinks and subsidized meals were available, as well as regular staff and social events and parties.
Today, we'll be talking about information sharing and extensive two-way communication. The inclusive nature of the culture at ODE was something that was discussed at length above. Throughout the discussion with the commercial director in December 2006, and indeed with the CEO in the first round of research in 2000, the emphasis that the attraction placed on sharing information and communicating with the staff was made clear. Hence, communication is a central ethos of the attraction, where a range of vehicles, including consultative committees and staff suggestions schemes, are used to emphasize a strong focus on the open and informal communications. It was noted that efforts were made to ensure that the staff clearly understood both the commercial and educational aspects of the business. For example, at the regular morning meetings, line managers communicate clearly in the important current issues. In addition, any particular issues relating to the employee's roles are discussed at the weekly training sessions. For example, guide employees receive current updates on scientific issues of interest to the attractions at the weekly science training and information sessions. More formally, ODE held regular staff consultative committee meetings and management meetings where important issues surrounding staff development and information exchange were discussed to diffuse best practice amongst the departments. As well as these formal avenues, the commercial director also felt that real efforts are made to make sure that effective communications happen more informally too, where staff will stop you in the corridor with new ideas, and that is very useful too.
Today, we will be talking about Visitor Attraction Survey on involvement in decision making. The commercial director put forward a number of useful examples which clearly illustrate the level of involvement of staff. Presentations are given to staff with the result of visitor surveys in order the staff can be aware of the commercial implications of decision made at the highest levels. Such information is discussed at the regular staff consultative committee meetings, where the implications for different aspects of the business are indicated and staff members are encouraged to suggest ways of improving the business. Most interestingly, it was indicated that when the induction program has been redesigned the previous year, employees were canvassed for views of what the program should actually include. He noted that the resulting program received commendations from the LEAP assessor. For the LEAP report, we reviewed and refreshed our induction training and asked people what they thought we should do with it. We asked questions like, if you were to have induction training right from the start, what would you like to see in it? So we got fantastic feedback that But the elite access recommended that how would they not like the system when they helped to make it? In addition, it was noted that the progress made through eliciting views and promoting involvement through the new induction program, which was described as shining beacon for involvement. It is to be rolled out in the future in relation to the appraisal process. We are going to reviewing the appraisal system in the new year, and we are going to have a look at the process and include refresher training on appraisals for everybody. So we are going to take people from all different levels in the organization, and I will be the director involved there. There will be a couple of manager and supervisors and a couple of staff, and that will be working group. And we'll meet every couple of weeks. We will go back and talk to their peers, and we will hopefully get some feedback from staff to decide on how we improve the system. Thank you for watching Visitor Attraction Survey, and I hope this video helps.
So guys, we'll proceed to team working. In order for the ODE to have an inclusive and progressive culture in place, the importance of team working is clearly important. It was noted as the result of having the three core businesses under the core roof, there was a need for much cross-departmental collaboration to ensure that the overall objective of the attraction could be met. It was noted that in the staff development sessions, much effort was put into ensuring that the information was exchanged between different departments. For example, with the ticket desk and the sales team, as the attraction now qualifies for gift aid, there is a need for effective collaboration to ensure that money is claimed back properly from the inland revenue. Another indication of the open culture was the fact that there was also no segregation of staff levels, and although everyone was required to wear a name badge, supervisors cannot be seen to be any different from other staff by visitors. This is seen as appropriate to kind of product being offered and the culture of ODE.
Talking about visitor survey on appraising each individual's performance development. The issue of appraisals was discussed briefly when involvement and decision-making was covered. It is, however, interesting to note that a higher degree of sophistication than anything has been used before in relation to staff appraisal is proposed for the future. Hence, instead of only systematic appraisal for the managerial level who are assessed on their leadership and development of others, there are moves to look to all levels of staff through a formal performance review system. The commercial director noted that this will affect all employees in the attraction, including staff who might only be employed for a summer session. Indeed, it was noted that ODE has an assessment review after the initial 6 weeks of employment because it is conceivable that within 10 weeks, staff may return to university or move elsewhere. In addition, employees are provided with opportunities to develop to their fullest potential. Training is provided on a regular basis, and there is a combination of on and off the job training opportunities, as indicated by the commercial director. There are dozens of example people who have moved through the organization, and we love to do it when we can. I am a good example. I joined the company because we opened in May 1989 and came on board as a retail manager. But a couple of months after we opened, I became the operations and retail manager. And then a couple of years, I became commercial director. Thank you for watching about Visitor Attraction Survey, and I hope this video helps.
And today we will be talking about pay satisfaction. Remuneration is discussed at the highest level of organization, which department directors liaising through the remuneration committee, which is made up of the board of trustees and the CEO. The process is designed to be inclusive and to allow for a degree of flexibility. Hence, managers can influence payment levels of the higher achievers. Another important element in remuneration strategy is to undertaking benchmarking with respect to pay levels and condition of a service to ensure that employees' payment is in the line with local competitors. The fact that organization has a relatively low labor turnover is evidence that the payment strategy outlined above works well.
Today, I will be talking about Visitor Attraction Survey on job security. As noted above, the remuneration strategy is comprehensively research and plan to ensure fair and equitable payment that is allocated to all employees, and this may contribute to the low labor turnover rates in ODE. In addition, the fact that the organization has a warm and inclusive culture has been a recurring theme this Strive and Gain to fail the offering employees an appropriate level of job security contributes to this culture. Overall, the organization has a workforce of 9.3 including salary staff, directors, full-time hourly paid and part-time hourly paid, who may only work at a weekend or even only at 1 day a week. However, to ensure that these numbers stay stable, the attraction uses more flexible labor in the form of agency staff when there is a need. For example, the commercial director committed that for corporate events, we agency staff last week at the Christmas party nights, we had 540 guests, so we had about 60 agency staff for those events. We cannot afford to keep those agency staff at all times, but we have the core teams managing those agency staff. Thank you for watching Visitor Attraction Survey on Job Security, and I hope this video helps.
And today we'll be talking about job challenge autonomy. It has been illustrated that the culture of the organization is very much aligned to ensure that employees at all levels are well looked after and suitably challenged in their roles. The examples of the innovations in guiding, such as the Jungle Explorers and the use of mascots, clearly illustrates how the attraction seeks to stimulate and use the creative ideas of their employees. When data were first collected in 2000, one of the main objectives of then CEO was to take the lead in encouraging a culture where staff and their contributions are valued. At that time, she discussed how managing the culture is everything we do. Even the staff uniforms are reflections of what this culture is all about: open, friendly, young, contemporary. It is clear that this culture has been perpetuated since the organization's initiations, where the attraction's personality is felt to be essential in guiding everything that is done. The organization has personality that govern what we can do, and our personality is Indiana Jones, an explorer who is adventurous and yet has some credibility in that he is university professor. So brave, exciting, and the uniform was designed to reflect that, and that staff were asked to keep that in mind by ODE Commercial Director. This commitment to allowing staff to use their own initiative and autonomy is perhaps best reflected in a final example, where a member of a staff was allowed to pursue his own initial idea of designing a braille version of the guiding material for blind customers. It was noted that this particular employee came forward and asked if it would be possible to develop such an innovation, and ODE duly obliged and attempted to help as much as possible. We'll be talking about work-life balance. Well, there's no specific work-life balance policy in operation. Staff workloads are monitored through a clock-in-out procedures with weekly hours being monitored. To ensure that staff are not working excessively long hours, this information is then used as part of HR planning for the coming year. In addition, there is no time off in lieu without prior permission. Policy in place to discourage staff from working overtime. In essence, staff work-life balance issues are considered at a strategic level.
Today we will be talking about managing human resources and visitor attraction. The aim of this chapter is to analyze how visitor attraction can take the strategic human resources management, or SHRM, approach to enhance their people management. In particular, the role that line managers play in implementing human resources strategies is explored. In order to illustrate some of the key issues, real-life example taken from a Scottish visitor attraction are discussed in a case study at the end of the chapter. This chapter 6.4.3. So first is highlight influence on visitor attractions in relation to managing people. Second is identify the philosophy and underlying values pertinent to a SHRM approach, and the third is examine the role that line managers play in implementing a SHRM approach by studying a visitor attraction case study of a good practice. Introduction. delivering tourism products and services to increasingly discerning customers in highly competitive and dynamic market conditions, present a range of organizational challenges. To remain competitive, tourism providers in Scotland must continue to meet and ultimately exceed customer expectations. This is in the context of a less buoyant market in terms both UK. Traditionally, Scotland has been over-reliant on the UK tourist. The overseas visitor numbers at 10,000. These downturn numbers may be attributed to a number of factors, including heightened perception of a threat from international tourism, increased marketing activity by other international destinations, and ultimately the strength of the British pound sterling. Despite these issues, it has been argued that the visitor attraction sector does offer visitor an enhanced experience whilst staying in Scotland and is an important revenue and employment provider. However, the philosophy of continuous improvement is to require amongst attractions if they are to continue playing this vital role. This message is conveyed most starkly by authors such as List et al. 2215, who suggest that if the visitor attraction sector in Scotland is to have viable long-term future, then it will have to find new ways of doing things and develop more strategic approach to managing its activities. It is the view of authors that one of the major activities that is vital for attractions to enhance is the strategic management of employees. This view was formed after carrying out empirical research with key industry experts, Scottish Tourist Board, National Trust for Scotland, Scottish Enterprise and Historical Scotland, who promote and manage visitor attractions in Scotland. Many of these experts note that the impact of key environmental factors related to legislative changes or requirements in health, safety, and employment issues, development in technology, and rapidly evolving socio-economic trends would have a major impact on how visitor attractions manage their staff. The industry experts also underline that increasing globalization, greater competition, and demographic changes would raise the need for visitor attraction to be more creative. And since the impact of such environment factors further emphasize the need to attract, retain, develop, and effectively manage staff so that they can effectively offer a valued product and experience to visitor. Watson and McCracken 2002. This wisdom of ensuring that employees are treated well is encapsulated in the service profit chain developed by Hesketh et al. 1994. They identify important relationships between employee satisfaction, loyalty and productivity, organizational profitability, and consumer loyalty. Auckland and Auckland 2001, 773. Support this assertion in their observation that in the world-class organizations, it is now widely acknowledged that effective people management and development is one of the primary keys to achieving improvements in organizational performance. It is interesting to note that in terms of competitive strategy, service organizations have recognized the importance of a service as a basis for differentiation. Given this increasing dependence on high service quality in the tourism industry, ensuring that there is a systematically selected, properly trained, and highly committed workforce in place is now essential for all visitor attractions. Research examining human resource HR practices in the tourism industry has reported this as largely lacking in sophistication. And that, when the nature of tourism labor markets were explored recently by Watson 2006, it was found that there were still clear weaknesses in many organization procedures in relation to unspecified hiring standards, multiple entry points, little training, and sophisticated promoting procedures and low skills requirements. This last point reinforces the assertions of several other authors in the field, Graham 2000, Jago, and Gary 2001, who have found that the tourism sector is particularly poor at managing normally unpaid volunteers effectively. It is underlying belief of the authors that the increasing competitiveness in the environment, allied to the labor market characteristics discussed above, may prove to be catalyst for visitor attraction sector to adopt a more systematic human resources management or HRM approach. Fundamentally, this requires an understanding of the importance of effective people management strategies for sustaining business performance through addressing such areas as: first is selecting and retaining quality staff, second is training and development to meet new and changing demands, and third, managing the employee-employer relationship to meet organizational objectives. With this in mind, the next section explains the rationale of strategic approach to HRM and discuss the vitally important role that line managers need to play in the delivery of SHRM. Hi, I'm Chari, and today we will be talking about our last topic in managing human resources and visitor attraction, which is conclusion. The author contended that adopting a SHRM approach as illustrated in the paragraphs above is vital to ensure the future success of visitor attractions in competitive environment. In addition to highlighting the fundamentals of SHRM, discussion has also centered around the nation of best practice models of HRM. One that emphasized the importance of high commitment of or high performance work practices in any organization has led 1995. In the line with this principle, Boxall and Parcell 2003 put forward a model of the fundamental purpose of HRM being centered on three basic nation of AMO. In essence, this involves encouraging staff to demonstrate positive dictionary behavior by linking into employee commitment, motivation, and job satisfaction. All of these approaches reflect an underlying belief that people are the key of competitive advantage and that HR decisions are made and supported by top management, engaging line management commitment to HR policies and developing a culture which encourages communication and involvement in decision making. A fundamental component of a SHRM approach, the involvement of the line managers in HRM roles and tasks. This involvement requires support, training, and trust for effective implementation of HRM strategies. As an illustration of how a SHRM approach can help enhance the performance of a visitor attraction, the above case illustrate good practice. ODEs, strategies, and policies are built upon the AMO principles as presented by Boxall and Parcell 2003 that enhance employee desire to become involved, demonstrate this discretionary behavior, and feel valued, whilst linking this to their strategic imperatives. Thank you for watching our video about managing human resources and visitor attraction, and I hope this video helps. And have a good day.